The stereotypes about people studying my degree are true. Today we will present a statement and our participants will move to a spot on the spectrum that reflects their opinion. Strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. The stereotypes about people studying my degree are true.
I think for a lot of commerce people, they do have that atmosphere of being like sharky, of you're doing all those networking events and all that sort of stuff. And I think in some sense, like it does take some of that to do really well in commerce. But the reason why I didn't go strongly agree is because I think there's still people who aren't like that in commerce as well. But I think on the most part, for sure.
I studied a Bachelor of Science, and I guess the stereotype is that there are a lot of like NPCs. But for me, I think there are also a lot of people who can be seen as sharky and commercey in science as well. So that's why I put neutral, because there may be a mix of both. Might depend on your major.
People who studied my degree now make a lot of money.
So I think people in my degree, I do biomedicine. Generally, people go on to study a doctor of medicine afterwards, and doctors tend to make quite a bit of money. I think straight out of biomed, if you want to do something with that, maybe not, but the general trend is to do medicine after, which is quite lucrative.
I would say as well, though, just in terms of like biomed, right? Isn't it that like a minority of people would actually get into med? And if they come out with a biomed degree and don't get into med, they end up just getting paid nothing in research?
I guess so. I think a lot of the people that I'm friends with, they generally do end up getting into medicine. I think people who do biomedicine, they also go into other things. So not just research, so like commerce or something. So they also tend to find jobs, but I'm not actually sure how much money they make.
Like, depending on which country you're in, you can still earn quite a lot as a teacher, but there's always a cap based on experience and the position you're in at the school. For example, if you're senior management, then it's a different story, but that takes a lot of years of experience. And for arts, I would say people's pursuit is generally not just money, perhaps like maybe creativity or like social causes and stuff like that. So maybe that is not the most profitable sector, but we have other stuff that fulfills us, I guess.
Especially for a lot of degrees, like excluding your medicine and dentistry. A lot of, especially bachelors, once you graduate, often there's a very limited career pathway you can take, which is why a lot of people in science have to take postgrad, like masters or PhD, to be able to make that greater amount of money that, let's say, a regular bachelor's commerce degree would get you. So, yeah.
It should be easy to find a job when I graduate.
Yeah, I guess I can kick this one off. I'm doing commerce. I just feel like it is quite hard to find a job in the current economy, especially in consulting. There's all this talk about consulting not being very good right now and laying off a lot of workers. So I think it's pretty hard. A lot of us, I think, in commerce have to work really, really hard, do all these extracurriculars, keep their grades up as much as they can, just to have a chance at finding a good job. So I'd say it's somewhat difficult.
These days, you hear about all these people getting laid off and stuff. And I think to get a job in computer science, oftentimes it's the interview itself is harder than the actual job. So I feel that's also one thing.
Based on the current availabilities of the job market, I think a lot of the times, especially for science, although AI, the field is very good job potential, into the other fields relating to the Bachelor of Science, I think a lot of the jobs people would be getting straight out of their bachelor's is not necessarily that related to their actual major, which is why I don't think that having a Bachelor of Science will necessarily correspond to be able to have a well-placed job security and a guaranteed chance to have a job after graduating.
I guess why I put neutral is because it depends on like what I do and what I choose to go for after my bachelor's, because I'm in like exploring different things, like what I want to do. If I do med or end up doing med, then job security is basically guaranteed. But that's why I put neutral.
I have a lot of opportunities to meet new people in my degree.
In commerce, there's a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of new people. Just because in commerce you're really encouraged to join a lot of clubs, like that's something that I don't see as much in science or other degrees. Just because it's important to find a job through these extracurriculars. Like almost everybody I know in commerce is in like at least one club, which kind of provides that platform to meet new people. And the community is kind of bigger in these clubs as well compared to others. So I would say so.
Most science people I know, biomed people I know, aren't in any clubs. But like why I put agree still is because as a science student, you can join commerce clubs and you can be part of the commerce communities where you make a lot of friends and meet a lot of new people. I myself am in 2 commerce clubs at the moment and 0 science clubs. So, yeah.
The reason why I'm in neutral is I don't think it matters like too much. Of course, like Ellie said, like if you put yourself out there and you actually go to connect, sure, you'll get something out of it. But just for computer science alone, I don't think it's something that's like necessary. You can get along like just fine without really like networking or like socializing all the time.
I think my major is more challenging or difficult than others.
Yeah, I mean, like if we're comparing like memorizing like all these biology things and all the different concepts like going into molecular level compared to like looking at a lot of the things that like commerce kids complaining about all the time with their exams and stuff, I would definitely agree. I mean, I wouldn't say I really, really strongly agree as in, it's so much harder, but I'm interested to see what Kaiten has to say in the strongly disagree as well.
Yeah, I can go ahead. Yeah, I just think commerce isn't that hard. Just because, like, I don't put in any effort and I just do insanely well. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just playing. But like, no, on a real note, it's like, it's not as hard. Like, I think the content's more intuitive, right? Like, we kind of understand how it works and it's not so rigorous as it comes to some of the things in science. Like, I did, like, one, like, computing breath, like, foundations of algorithms, and it almost killed me, like, compared to my other subjects. So I do think it is a bit more straightforward in commerce.
For me, I think definitely arts or education is not really like technical, for example, like medicine or science or commerce even. But I feel like the challenge for arts students is the logical and critical thinking. Like for one subject, I'm doing philosophical or ethical thinking. So it's a lot more about whether you have the life experience or to back up your arguments, and also kind of it challenges because there's no right or wrong answers compared to other subjects. So it's about opening your mind up and learning to listen to other people's perspectives when forming yours. So I feel like the challenge is different, but definitely when we talk about like technical stuff, it's, I would say, easier than other.
Difficulty is more so based on the person, I feel, is, for example, some people like maths, some people find it easy to memorize, some people love writing essays. That's up to the person, but I feel like for science, it's not as difficult as biomed if you decide to pick the same major, just because of the way biomed's structured. And like, I feel like when compared to, let's say, commerce, I feel like commerce isn't necessarily oriented around like the hard knowledge that you're taught. Versus, like, it's more so emphasis on almost like the soft skills of like communication, which there is also a requirement for like certain majors in science, but not necessarily as like bigger requirement almost.